This is an interview with Lee Simpson, my dad.
Right, yes. It's Tales of a Dad, Part 1. I'm being interviewed by Rachel. So, what would you like to know, Rachel?
Where did you live when you were young?
I grew up in a town called Eccles in Salford, but I actually spent the first few years of my life in Little Lever in Bolton, but I have very vague memories of that, if none. Most of my memories come from growing up in Eccles, which is where they produced Eccles cakes. So, you know, those little cakes with dead flies in, sugary ones. And it was right next to the Manchester Ship Canal, so growing up as a little boy, had these huge freight ships going past every day. It was good fun running down to the canal, because you could actually watch them from a house going past. There was massive things, sea lining ships, and as the ship went past, or just before it went past, it would pull the water in, and you could jump down into the actual canal some 10-15 feet, and you'd have to run back out again before the wash came and it went over the embankment. It was good fun diving out before the wash came. So yes, I grew up in a town called Eccles, more specifically Barton, and it was right next to the world's first aqueduct, Barton Aqueduct, which is a bridge over water. So it was the Bridgewater Canal went over the Manchester Ship Canal, and the whole of the bridge used to be able to turn with water in it. The actual road bridge, I'd been on that several times. There was two bridges, one for the water, one for the traffic, and it was an old iron bridge. And in the summer, you'd invariably see the fire engines turn up to actually spray it with water. If it got too hot, it actually expanded too much and would get stuck. Either get stuck open or get stuck that it couldn't open. So they'd have to spray it with cold water so it could be opened again. And you'd see this long line of traffic waiting to get over the bridge. And a few times, if I asked nicely, I used to get allowed to go on the bridge while it was turning. That was good fun. Any other questions you want to know about where I grew up as a kid, or anything else?
Right. How did you end up here?
Well, end up in Edinburgh. Long story, but I'll try and give you the short version. Amongst my wanderings, the transatlantic settlements have not escaped me. Yes, well, it was Walter Scott that brought me up here. I'd got a job, let me think, I need to go back a bit, don't I?
The charity shop.
Yeah, well, that's to do with Walter Scott, so I'll come back with that in a second. How I actually got up. Oh, you want to go back that far?
I don't know.
Right, okay, I'll go back
Should we just...
No, I'll go back that far, actually. Yeah, I'd been down on my luck, and things didn't work out after college and such like, and I'd ended up just taking any old job. And I was working over in a town called Cheadle, and I wasn't earning much money, and I had to go to charity shops each day, and I'd do that to kill some of the time. It was a nice posh town, Cheadle. It's not far from where some of the footballers lived who played for Manchester United, so the charity shops were filled with very high quality gear. So I'd buy some clothes from there, but more importantly, I liked to go to the back room where there was loads of books. And that's where I first discovered a book by Walter Scott, but that's a longer story, but I won't go into that now. So I like reading Walter Scott, and once I got another job shortly after that for a computer company, and within a few weeks of being at the computer company, I'd learnt that there was a position up in Edinburgh. So I'd started with the same company in Manchester, well, in Salford, and I got a transfer with the company up to Edinburgh, and I thought, I'm going to Edinburgh because that's where Walter Scott was, and I was sick of Salford because at the time the area where I was living was suffering from high crime and high drugs, and just it was just not a nice place to be, because you couldn't walk around with a smile on your face because someone would come and knock it off you. So I had my sights set on Edinburgh because I'd been up to Edinburgh when I was 11. I'd been on a school trip which went round Northumberland and the castles of Northumberland, and I had a quick day trip into Edinburgh, and I remember I fell in love with the place. So therefore, when the opportunity came to transfer up to Edinburgh, I leapt at it. It was a bit of a hassle coming up here, but I've never looked back.
How many times have you nearly been killed?
Gosh. Well, talking of that company in Cheadle, I used to cycle. It was a health company, and I used to cycle back and forth to the company. They gave me a company bike because they weren't paying me much, but I'd conned them into giving me a bus pass as part of my payment, as a perk. Just a little extra, because it was cheaper for them to give me a bus pass than it was to give me more money. But then I persuaded them to buy me a bike because that would be cheaper for them. So I got this 300 quid bike, and I cycled to and from the centre of Salford to Cheadle, which is a round trip of about 20 miles. Or was it more than that? No, about 20 miles. So I was doing that every day, keeping fit, and that was when I was in my early 20s. No, mid-20s, sorry, about 25, 26. But I remember on one occasion, I was getting a bit frustrated with a car that had stopped on this road, and I don't know why it stopped. Maybe there's a bus in front of it, and I was just getting frustrated, and I thought, I want to get home, and my bike was really fast. It was a hybrid. So I just decided I would just, actually I mustn't have stopped. I must have seen the car and thought, I can just pull out in front of the car. But to my horror, I went straight into the line of oncoming traffic. And I slammed the brakes on so hard that the back wheel flipped up, and I came off the bike in midair and literally jumped off the bike and was carrying the bike. It all happened so quickly. So brake, jump, bang, and I stopped, but I was holding the bike in the air, and then I just pulled the bike out of the way of the oncoming car. So that was a bit of a close one. Another one, when I was a teenager, I'd got a job working in a pub in Eccles, but I was actually living in Little Hulton, and it was a commute of about 5 miles. And to get there, I had to get 2 buses connecting in Wogden, or Wogden as it was known in Bolton. And so I remember, the buses from Eccles used to take forever, and sometimes they never turned up, so you'd wait forever to get a bus to Eccles, from Eccles to Wogden. And the bus that I had to get off in Wogden, I think it was at some traffic lights, and I could see a bus going to Little Hulton that way. And it was dark. I remember that it was night time. I must have been working late. And there was this crossroads, so I'm getting off before the lights, and I could see the bus coming, and it's going to stop going that way. I thought, I've just got to run as fast as I can, because the buses were like one every half an hour or every hour. They weren't that frequent. And I thought, I've got to run for this bus. But I forgot also there was a road that came from down there and went across. So I actually didn't think about this road. It was a one-way street going that way. And a car came zooming in front of my path. And I didn't see it till the last second. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get hit by this car. But I just jumped up in the air, literally pushed myself down and jumped up in the air. And I just remember jumping over this car, over the bonnet of a car that was coming at me. Like, And I just leapt up in the air and I was like flying. I didn't stop. And luckily I got on the bus. The bus was just about to pull off again. I was banging on the bus and it stopped, it just pulled up again and I got on it and I was like, glad that happened. You know, glad I got on the bus. Glad I didn't get killed as well. I didn't even stop to say sorry to the driver because he must have been alarmed. Luckily, I never touched his car and he never hit me. I just literally leapt over it. I never jumped so high forever, jumping over a car, because there was no time to think. Literally, because I was moving so quickly, I couldn't slow myself down in time. I would have just hit it. So I just went boom.
You just went boom.
Not just
to the side.
No, because it was like coming that angle, and I didn't see it till the last second. I thought I can't stop fast enough, and I just went boom. Jumped over it like that. So that was one time. Another time was when I remember waking up in my flat in in Salford. I remember waking up in my flat in Salford. I think I told you the story before. And I woke up sitting in my bed when I was living on my own. Opened my mouth and went. And my throat was blocked, totally blocked, and I couldn't breathe. I thought, huh? And I just didn't know what was wrong, didn't know why it was blocked. I mean, I'd just woken up, I hadn't eaten anything. And I was panicking, really panicking. I went running around the kitchen, not knowing what to do. I opened the window, but I was on like 16 floors up, or 12, 16 floors up, looking down, there's nothing, I can't shout for help. And I was like, can't breathe. So I thought, well, that's that then. That's my life over. So I just sat against the wall in my bedroom and I was just thinking, that's my life over. And I was just thinking, there's nothing I can do. And then suddenly I gulped, I swallowed. Actually, yeah, I swallowed. And doing the swallowing got rid of whatever the blockage was. Turned out it was some kind of chest infection, and the catarrh had built up like cement overnight. And I told the manager in the office when I was working, and the next day after that he comes back to me and said, I'm so glad you told me what had happened to you and how you'd solved it, because he must have woken up with the same thing. And luckily he swallowed and was able to breathe. I wonder how many people died from that. That was a horrific thing. Any other times I nearly died? Let's quickly think. Don't think I ever nearly died at school. At college, no, I think everything was okay there. Well, this video is, obviously, it has a PG rating, so I can't go into some details. You'll have to wait till you're much older. But there was another issue. Another issue that nearly killed me. And that's why I changed my name to Lee Live, because I'm not dead, because I nearly died, and there was some other issue that nearly killed me when I was 23. And I'll tell you when you're older.
No, tell me now.
No, no, no. This is a PG rated film. Right, next one.
Tell me when this is finished.
What's finished?
The video.
You're still recording, aren't you?
Oh.
Well, do you want it to finish now and do a part 2 another day? Right, thanks very much.